It's just past 8 a.m. here at Boys Latin School in Baltimore, and while the classrooms are empty, the school is buzzing with activity.
In the mornings, we have open gym, like play basketball.
We do scale modeling.
The reason? A wave of changes designed to solve a growing gender gap in education, with boys at least half a grade level behind their female peers in reading in nearly every U.S. state, and nearly 1 million fewer young men heading off to college compared to their female counterparts. Which is why, starting last year, this private all-boys school decided to do something about it.
Oh, okay.
With 3 big changes: a ban on cell phones, a first period for activities, and more time for hands-on projects, away from desks.
Show of hands, how many of you think these changes have been positive? All of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been getting better grades. I've also been happier in class.
Why do you think you've been happier?
Because before I was just like tired and I didn't want to be at school. When I get woken up, I just feel like I'm ready for the day.
We hear a lot of discussions out in the world about how young men are isolated, how young men are angry, how young men are lonely. Do you see that playing out in the world?
I can't really speak on loneliness, but it does take away a lot of negative emotions like anger, anxiety.
If you don't have your phone, you're saying?
If you don't have your phone, yeah.
It really just helps us all feel like we're connected and together.
It's the American dream.
Headmaster Chris Post calls it a win-win.
How much does it cost to make changes like these?
It costs virtually nothing. A few $100s for a phone locker and for plastic tubs to put your phone in.
Are these changes working?
Absenteeism is probably lower year on year. Certainly there are fewer and fewer student latenesses. Kids are excited to come to school.
The change is part of a growing nationwide movement to make education more boy-friendly, spurred in part by a new organization called the American Institute for Boys and Men.
The alarm bells are really ringing now in classrooms, which is to say, just our boys aren't doing well enough. There are twice as many girls at the top of the class, in the top 10%, as there are boys. Boys are much more likely to be suspended, much less likely to finish school on time. So the overall story is pretty clear that our education system is not serving our boys well enough.
What would you say to critics who say, look, girls could benefit from these changes too? Why is this specific to young men?
We want to find ways that lift everybody up, but which particularly offer a helping hand to those who are falling furthest behind. And in schools, that's very clearly boys.
Why are you looking at my hair?
For Michael Palmisano and his son Blake,
have you noticed a change in your son since he's enrolled here?
Yes, very much so. I've seen him ready to go to school instead of kind of retreating and pulling back. And I think so much of that is that they let boys be boys and they just go all in on that.
All in on a new school experience.
All in. Wow. And beyond the cell phone ban, these changes are based on research showing that physical activity in the morning and more activities intermittently allow young men to better balance their energy. In fact, they're able to focus deeply and thoroughly on the core academic lessons throughout the day. And they hope that in doing that, the school is able to create a safe space for them to express themselves physically and emotionally, and ultimately bring their whole selves to the classroom.
I love it. I love everything about it.
You know, any parent knows exactly what's going on here, but it's nice to see that the schools are actually being responsive.
And I loved what he said about, you know, this also helps young women, right? If we can really elevate everyone, including those who are struggling at the bottom, what are the tide rises?
Yeah,
and helps
all boats rise in harbor. Yeah.
But also this idea that all children learn the same.
Yeah.
And I've got a boy and a girl.
Yeah, everyone
and the
knows
way that they learn, very, very different.
I agree. My daughter's also in the morning, her brain works one way, and my son needs an hour or two before he snaps.
Yeah. And it's great to be able to like tailor it and not have to pretend like it doesn't.
Right, right. Why not? Yeah. Great story, Morgan. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.